So as you can see, I've got a Wacom Intuos3 tablet. This one is the Wacom Intuos3 12 by 19 inch pen tablet. It's got the mouse with it. I've also got a Bluetooth keyboard for my MacBook Pro. These will all come in handy, but first I'm going to strip my monitor down, so let's move all of these things out of the way. Here's my monitor. It's a 21.5 inch Acer display. This is actually the second monitor I purchased for this project. The first one was an AOC 22 inch ultra slim IPS LED monitor. It was really awesome. I paid $106 for it on eBay and bricked it when I stripped the monitor down. I will end up using parts of it for this one, as you'll see later. Anyway, I picked this one up locally from Craigslist for 25 bucks. So here's my strip of the Acer. So first I'll loosen the screws for the base stand and then remove the stand. I took a look around the edges to see if there was a good way to get into the case, and then took off the screw that attaches the stand to the case. For this part, I went around the case with my knife to pop it open, being careful not to push the knife in too hard and scratch the screen. You could use a plastic knife or one of those fancy tools that people use to take apart electronics. I don't happen to have one, so use my Gerber. Next, I cleaned it with a microfiber cloth. Since the LCD screen was exposed and I didn't want it to get scratched, I placed a piece of foam core board on the desk. I also put on some nitrile gloves. I probably should have put them on first before opening the screen. The last piece to remove was this screw near the VGA and DVI ports. With that out of the way, I had the monitor opened and I could see all the components. The most important thing to be careful of is the board and the ribbons, the PVC board, or PCB board, and ribbons that control the LCD image right here at the top. It's covered by the plastic and tape. This cable connects the LCD to the control board. This one goes to the buttons for setting up the monitor and powering on. And this one connects the board to the LEDs that give the screen light. All the ribbons and cables are connected but held in place with this adhesive. It's fairly strong, but the ribbons are fragile, so pull carefully to detach them. The smaller ribbons connect to the board with these little slide clips. Also make note of which direction the ribbon is pointed. See how this side has blue and the underside has the exposed connections. I'm going to continue to remove these so they are out of the way. Here's the tricky part where I bricked the last monitor. I need to move this ribbon out of the way without breaking the LCD ribbons hiding under the plastic. Before I do that, however, I replace the ribbons to be sure that everything still works. I didn't want to go all the way through the process without a working monitor. Yes, it works. Alright, so I turn it off and detach the ribbons again. Alright, back to the scary part again. Time to remove the LCD cables and get to the metal back of the monitor. First, remove the tape that holds the plastic in place. Next, we'll remove the screws. And turn it over ever so carefully. I laid the ruler down to hold it out of the way. Next, I need to remove the metal backing of the monitor. This has to be removed or it will not allow the digitizer from the Wacom tablet to emit a signal to the stylus. I also need to shield the top because the LCD controller emits a lot of interference. I'll do that with this sheet of plastic. I got this from the inside of a broken monitor, but anything that is thick and is not conductive will work. I'll lay it down here to guess the size I need to cover the circuit board. I cut that shape with scissors. Then I laid it in place and it stuck to the adhesive backing that was on the original plastic. After it was somewhat protected and held in place, I again focused on removing the metal backing of the monitor. To remove the metal backing, I popped the tabs from the black plastic frame away from the metal sheet. Next, gently go around the case, separating the metal from the black plastic frame. I'm not sure why I show this part here. I'm just testing again to be sure the signal will not emit through the metal from the monitor. Since I moved things, I had to go around again gently with the knife to pop the tabs of the black plastic frame. And the front metal frame is apart. Now for the back. At this point, with the metal frame off the front, the LCD screen separates. There are more tabs holding the metal backing to the black frame. I'm sorry, I thought it was in the camera frame at this point, but I guess not. You'll see in the black frame that there are a bunch of layers of plastic and things. You'll need to keep these all in position and order. I made one mistake on this step and had to spend quite a while putting them back together. Now I need to remove the LED strip from the metal backing. For this, I grabbed my X-Acto knife. I ran it along the metal to avoid breaking the LED. The metal backing is now gone. Let's put it back together. First, I need to be sure the LED strip was in the proper orientation. Here's the part where I'm trying to place the layers in the proper order and orientation in relation to the LCD screen. Be sure to keep the layers clean or you'll have marks or spots behind your LCD and they will show through. Now put the front metal frame back on to hold it all together for a test. Connect the ribbons again and the DVI input and power. Power it on and nothing. Well, not nothing. I can see the signal in the LCD. You can't see it on the screen, but the LED is not powering on, so I have no light behind my screen. So I need to disconnect and do some more testing. Here I've pulled out the LED and no light whatsoever. Here I grabbed the LED strip from the broken AOC monitor that I mentioned earlier. However, the ribbon on the Acer was a 15-pin ribbon, but the AOC was a 10-pin. But they both had the same pitch at 1 millimeter, so I figured I could just use the skinnier ribbon on the wider connection, just adjust it so it lines up with some of the connection. I know somebody's got to be holding their head. Anyway, but the question is, does it light? And yes, it does. I put on the old LED strip in place. It's a little tight because the frame wasn't the same as from the Acer to the AOC. The AOC had a longer slot for the LED. Flip the monitor back over, place the tablet underneath, hit the power switch, and booyah! And it works. So I need to be sure everything is held together, especially the LED, which was just kind of slapped in there. Here I use the Acer LED strip that doesn't work as a shim to hold the AOC one in the frame. With both in there, I had to snip the end of the Acer LED strip, and I also had to cut a bigger slot for the LED to hold in properly. Now for some final assembly, air quotes on final assembly, with transparent adhesive tape to hold the LED in place and to hold the black plastic frame to the plastic sheets and the LED strip, and the plastic I'm using to shield the LCD board. And the big reveal, yes, that looks perfect.